sun is setting here in the kitchen garden on what has been quite a productive afternoon. We've been fixing trellising to our new fence, and that's going to help us support some fan-trained fruit trees which we'll be planting shortly. Where I'm stood at the moment faces just west of north, and that's a good place for a sour cherry. So we've got 2 sour cherries going here, and also a Duke cherry. That one's a cross between a sweet and sour sort, and I'm not sure whether this might be a little bit too shady for it. We'll have to see how it does. This fence does catch some afternoon sun, and maybe that will be just enough for it. Along the east fence we've also fixed trellising, and that's going to have a mirabelle, 2 dessert plums and a gauge, and I'll talk through the varieties when I come to plant them. I thought it might be interesting just to show what we've done and how we fixed the trellising to the fence. So what we're using here is reinforcing mesh. Now this is normally the sort of thing that will be found in a reinforced concrete slab. We had an offcut left over from when I built a pizza oven, and we used that last year to tie in cucumbers. I liked it so much that we bought quite a lot of this now, and we're fixing it all around this fence. We've got some in the fruit cage, and our greenhouses have been almost entirely trellised with this stuff. So the mesh I've got here is a 6mm mesh. This is known as A142. So the A tells you the size of the grid. In this case it's 200 by 200, and the 142 refers to the cross-sectional area of the wire. I presume that's how much you'd have in a metre square of the mesh. Now these sheets are 3.6 metres by 2 metres. They're what's known as a merchant size sheet. The full size sheets are 4.8 by 2.4 if I remember correctly. They're the sort of thing that you might find on a building site, but these are the size of sheets that your local builder's merchant might stock. You can also find them in smaller sizes where these sheets are being cut down. Now trellising can be quite pricey, whether it's made of wood or metal, and this is really a very economical option. Each sheet cost us about £17. We did buy quite a few of them though. It would probably have been more economical to put wires, vine eyes and straining bolts in, but that's quite a job, and I think these will provide even better support than wires. The other slight problem is that this new fence has concrete posts. Our previous fence had 4-inch softwood posts, and it was great to just screw the vine eyes into that. The cant rails that support the boards on this fence probably aren't quite so good for fixing vine eyes to. So anyway, having had a good experience with an offcut of this mesh last year, we decided to deploy it all through the garden, and I'll show you now how we fixed it. So you can see the cant rail here that's supporting the boards that make up our fence. To that we fixed a short length of 2x2 with 2 long screws, and then we've used one of these small saddle clips. These are made from 1mm steel. They're zinc plated, and these are 7mm clip. Now the wire here is nominally 6mm. It's a bit rough, and actually the 7mm clip is perfect for it. So we've just screwed this block to the cant rails, and then we've screwed this saddle clip to hold the wire mesh in place, and that provides a really firm fixing. We've got 12 of these blocks for each panel. So that's a 3.6 metre long by 2 metre high length of trellising fixed with 12 of these blocks. We could probably have got away with 8, but 12 is definitely more than enough for this job. I don't know how long this material will last out here. I'm hoping it will be a good few years. The offcut that we used last year in one of the greenhouses, that had been kicking around for a few years and only had a light dusting of surface rust on it. Indeed, these have already picked up a surface coating of rust, and I'm hoping it won't corrode too quickly now. Perhaps where they're sat on the ground, but if it does rust out down there, I don't really care because I'm not using that. It's fixed securely to the fence, so it's not relying on sitting on the ground for support. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see how this works out. I'm sure it'll be excellent for tying in the fruit trees. In the greenhouse, we're going to be tying our tomatoes against it, as well as the cucumbers. Now, I know it's perfect for the cucumbers. It'll be interesting to see whether it's also a good support for the tomato plants. They're slightly different in that I imagine some trusses and leaves will poke through the mesh and hang out the other side. So it'll just be interesting to see how that works out this year. Well, as the sun goes down, the temperature is dropping and it's getting pretty chilly now. So I'm going to head back indoors. So from me, it's bye for now.